Unfortunately for me, the only Sonic game I ended up playing growing up was this. So, I know about Maria, the Ark,
Find the computer room!
I know about Shadow the Hedgehog, probably about as well as he knows himself.
This is who I am.
So it's probably time that I find out about the origin of this edgy hedgy on this episode of No-stalgia. If you ask any fan what their favourite Sonic game is, there's a good chance that they'd say Sonic Adventure 2, so I hoped going in that it would improve upon the original. There are huge changes made. Hub worlds, gone. Big the Cat, gone.
Smells like Froggy's around somewhere.
There are only 2 stories instead of 6, streamlining the plot. So there you go, second one better. Thank you for watching. Unfortunately, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Sonic Adventure 2 takes what I believe is the best gameplay styles in the original and puts them in this game, including them in both the hero and the dark storylines. There is a set order to which characters you play and when. Of course, first impressions are everything, and the hero story makes one big first impression.
Attention all units. Suspect seen heading south. Block all major roads and capture the suspect.
Sonic controls much better. He's faster, more precise when performing homing attacks. His light dash is instantaneous, not requiring charge up time. They've added rails to grind on, poles to swing on, adding more variety to the levels. They've also added spectacle, jumping on a rocket, swinging on vines, running away from a truck. In fact, the levels in general look more detailed and defined. Sonic himself is more sleek and angular, moving even further away from his classic design, but making him look more lively. Now, you might think I'm crazy for saying this, but I do actually prefer Sonic in the first adventure game. Why? The level design. I love in Sonic games those tricky alternate paths that with enough skill and reaction time lets you skip huge chunks of the level. When I miss one of these alternate routes, it just makes me want to replay the stage to retry it. Adventure 2 follows a lot more linear path with less room for replayability overall. Sometimes I just find myself holding forward. The light dash also suffers from not charging. It's faster and more efficient, but there are times where I just want to do a light dash and end up just doing a spin dash. The irritating thing is that this is so simple to fix. Just use more than 2 buttons. To control Sonic, use the A and B button, and that's it. The B button is for interacting with things, spin dashing, bouncing, light dashing, somersaulting, so trying to do one thing and accidentally doing another is such a common occurrence. Shadow is in the Dark story, and he plays the exact same as Sonic, though Shadow doesn't run, he skates.
Damn, not here.
I'd argue some of his levels are more difficult, and occasionally more interesting. They'll never be as iconic as City Escape or Metal Harbor, but they're still tons of fun, just lacking some of the openness of the first game. The later levels though, both characters are burdened with clunky gravity elements introduced. And Sonic Adventure, I know you're trying, but this is just awful. The second playstyle is Knuckles. He's back protecting the Master Emerald.
What the?
Oh come on Knuckles, that's twice Eggman has just come out of nowhere and stole your shit. You seriously that stupid you can hear a fat pensioner flying above you? Knuckles has the same treasure hunting gameplay as before, however he gets his own levels unlike the first game, but repurposed a lot of Sonic stages. The radar used to track the emeralds have also been nerfed, so only one radar is going off at a time. This can mean that you're right next to an emerald, but you won't know until you've got a previous shard, leading to stages potentially dragging on. The level design is also a little bit hit and miss. Stages like Pumpkin Hill are ace, being these grand open levels just begging to be explored. Death Chamber, however, is way too compact and overly designed, with just travelling between the rooms being aggravating. The Dark Story treasure hunting is done by Rouge the Bat, and I'm just going to address it, I do not like her design. Now, look at these characters. Do you know what they all have in common? They don't have big bat breasts. Honestly, I do not know what Sonic Team are thinking. This is definitely what birthed that part of the fandom. I don't even think she's a very good bat. Late in the game she's about to fall into some lava and Knuckles has to save her. Maybe if her knockers weren't weighing her down she could, I don't know, fly? The stages that she's in are torture. Levels like Security Hall are pube-ripping levels of annoying. Some of the emeralds could be in safes, in which you have to go all the way up to the top to activate it. Not only that, but there's a timer. I beat this level on my first attempt, not because I was very good, but because I was lucky that the places the emeralds were in were easy to get to. To me, that's the biggest issue with the treasure hunting. It's pure luck on whether you're going to find it difficult or not. The final gameplay style is Tails. Now, I really liked Tails in SA1. I felt its gameplay had a lot of potential. I can't wait to see him fly around some unique levels. Sorry? Tails is controlling a mech now? This feels a bit forced, to be honest. I imagine they came up with Eggman for the mech stages first, and then decided to save development time by just chucking Tails into a mech. I guess it wouldn't really work the other way round, with Eggman imitating Tails gameplay. Actually, now I really want to see that. These mech stages imitate Gamma's gameplay, this time with their own unique stages. I find these particular levels pretty lackluster actually, with most of them just being glorified corridors. The stages are longer than Gamma's, that's good, but the controls are less fun overall. Gamma's stages were always on a timer, not counting up, but counting down. The only way to increase the timer was by getting good combos. Gamma in general was a lot quicker, keeping the game at a brisk pace. Not only are Tails and Eggman slower, but there is a lot more platforming. This is so clunky, and in general, just a bit boring. On some levels I'm better off just not shooting anything, and on other levels, the game basically plays itself. So comparing both the adventure games to each other, there's a lot of give and take. Whenever they improve on one thing, they seem to make something else worse. One thing that's undoubtedly better is Sonic Adventure 2's story. It was easy to get lost in Sonic Adventure 1, with 6 interwoven plots. It appeared messy, lacking focus. Adventure 2 with its 2 stories keeps it concise. Having those stories also being hero and dark showcases interesting perspective shifting. For example, there's a moment where Eggman completely demoralises Tails.
You thought you could trick me with that fake emerald, didn't you?
So, how did you know it wasn't the real one?
Tails!
Because you just told me, Fox Boy.
This moment would make Tails seem reckless. However, go over to the dark story, and Eggman already knew about the fake emerald. This reveal makes Eggman seem like even more of a prick. He's a real threat in this game, literally blowing up the moon. I think characterization on the whole was a huge step up from the original. Gone are the long pauses and awful line delivery, as these voice actors really settle into their roles. The writing though, I'd say it's bad, but I can literally recite it word for word, so that's got to count for something.
I found you, faker.
Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Huh, you're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you
fake.
eat those words.
There's definitely a cheesy quality to the writing, and I kinda love it, but I don't know if I'd go as far to say as it's good. The characters themselves are handled pretty well. Sonic has a cocky yet relaxed quality about him that makes him very likeable.
What you see is what you get. Just a guy that loves adventure. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog.
But he's still serious when the time calls for it.
I'm counting on you, Tails. And Amy, take care of yourself.
Tails, I also feel, is at his best. He's still naive, but he's become more confident, even taking charge at times.
What's Amy doing here? Doesn't matter. I have to help Amy because she's in danger.
I can't wait for him to become even more confident in the future. Amy is here. Shadow is probably one of the most in-depth characters in this game, getting most of the focus. He's the perfect foil to Sonic, growing from a cold, brooding dickhead to someone actually capable of helping others. This was the most compelling part of the narrative. The execution, though, is much to be desired. So, Shadow wants to destroy the world because Maria wanted him to take revenge? Except, no, Shadow just remembered it wrong. She actually wanted him to protect humanity and be everyone's mate. How did he get that wrong? That's like my fiance saying,
Can you get some milk from the shop?
and me hearing it as,
I need you to go to a field, find a cow, and just get in there and ravage his little bumhole.
a more endearing arc for me would be one in which Shadow wants revenge. However, by interacting with Sonic, Rouge and Amy. he is influenced to change his ways. The final story is unlocked by completing both stories. This has the gameplay of all the characters for one last go, with Shadow left to face the Ultimate Lifeform prototype. Not to be confused with the actual Ultimate Lifeform. I know it's hard to tell the difference between the real one and the faker. He can't defeat it all alone though. So, you know what it's time for. Super Sonic and Super Shadow? Just gotta give it a quick bro job first. These boss fights are always hyped as fuck, giving an awesome climactic boss to finish the game. The main reason, of course, is the return of Crush 40. The track Live and Learn is just so good. In fact, the entire soundtrack in this game is awesome. I obviously can't not mention City Escape. You've also got Metal Harbour. In fact, all of Sonic's tracks are absolute bangers. The other tracks though, I honestly found pretty forgettable. They're all unique and fit the characters, but I don't know, it seems like a step down from the first. Apart from, of course, Knuckles.
You know me, the fighting freak Knuckles, and we're at Pumpkin Hill. You ready? I ain't gon' let it get to me, I'm just gon' creep. Down in Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost piece. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet. The great Emerald's power allows me to feel.
Every Knuckles level has rap music, and it's as terrible as it is amazing.
Yeah, Rouge, she's sexy and smooth. A double cross.
I mean, she is, but you can't just say it. The sound design is not great. I was playing the Steam version, so I don't know if it's version exclusive, but the sound effects like Knuckles' radar and Tails' lock-on laser was so loud I suffered constant headaches whilst playing. So, is Sonic Adventure 2 a step up from the original? Yes. And no. It improves so much, but also detracts from the original. I think you should play it as a Sonic or a non-Sonic fan, but I'd temper your expectations. I wouldn't say that this is the gold standard of the franchise. If you're a big fan of the GameCube, I've covered Metroid Prime, Luigi's Mansion, and of course, Sonic Adventure. I'd like to quickly thank my wonderful fiancé for recording footage for the game, as mine got corrupted, and for making that garbage artwork. I hope you like the video, and if you do, let me know your thoughts on Sonic Adventure 2, and tell me why I'm wrong. Thank you for your time, it means a lot. I'm gonna go now, and keep searching for the gold in the old.
Yosh. Yosh. Yosh.